Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar on buyers, commissions, and conveying your value as a real estate agent. We're really excited to talk with everybody today and share some of the stories that we've heard from our customers around the country. And appreciate you all taking time out of what we know is a busy spring market to better and learn more about some of the features and functions that are available to you in Zenlist. We probably have a wide range of experience of Zenlist on the call. So one of the things that we wanted to do is just give a quick high-level view of who Zenlist is, what our value is, and what we're going to cover over the webinar today. So we were founded in 2016 by Tom McLeod and Jake Thompson, and they had the goal of simplifying the real estate process through streamlined collaboration by putting the agent and the buyer together in one place. That place is Zenlist. So with collaboration at the front of our mission, we believe in breaking down the walls between agents and clients by providing you with the tools to search and communicate more effectively with your clients and agents to remain top of mind for your customers. Over the next 30 minutes in this webinar, we want to further break down those walls in the spirit of collaboration and share with you some of the best practices, stories, and features and use cases we've heard from our customers around the country and how they're positioning Zenlist with their buyers, their sellers, and their customers to put them at the forefront to help drive their businesses to new heights in 2024 and beyond. So over the next 30 minutes, we'll quickly cover the changing landscape of real estate, how to position Zenlist, walk through a live demonstration of some of the tools and some of the more advanced and use cases that are available to agents in Zenlist. And we wanted to highlight one of the additional features and benefits we'll be providing, which is a custom buyer's guide for all the attendees and registrants of the webinar today. And time permitting, if there's any pending questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. We're joined by a few of our colleagues here in the chat, and we'll get those answered live or throughout the course of the webinar. And I am Nolan Walker. I'm the head of US sales here at Zenlist. My role at Zenlist is to meet with agents, brokerages, franchises, and enterprises across the country and share strategy and operations with how Zenlist can impact their processes, how it can be valuable for their agents, and then hear stories about how customers are using Zenlist across the country. And that's what we want to be able to share here today with you. I'm joined by my colleague, Taylor Curley. Taylor, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Nolan. And hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. My role at Zenlist, I'm a market manager. I oversee our central region, and I support our brokerage users to make sure that their teams are set up for success, learn about their workflows, and make sure that they're getting the most use out of our tool.
Awesome. Now, to get started, I always hate to start off a webinar with the doomsday scenario or the negative news that's out there. But unfortunately, as we all know, this is all we're seeing if we're in the real estate industry when we wake up, check our phones with the news. And unfortunately, this is what your clients are seeing. It's an easy headline, and companies across the country are saying and highlighting the easy news of the buyer's agent is no more. You don't need to work with an agent. And here at Zenlist, we will always bet on the agent. We know just how integral you are in the relationship. And our goal today is for you to be able to have the confidence using the tool to put these headlines in the past and move forward in this new landscape in this new direction. And as a tech company, we are no stranger to the choices that you have to make in a given day as a real estate agent. Just here is a small sample of the technology companies that are out there for you to use. So whether it's from finding a home to financing a home to renting a home to transaction management, you have a lot of choices as a real estate agent. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, what's the most important relationship is the relationship that you have with the client. So Zenlist, we try to simplify that relationship, and we operate and look at this landscape in an easy way to help you understand where we fit into your process and how we can effectively help deepen that relationship with your customer. And I'm going to hand this over to Taylor to talk a little bit about how we view that from our landscape using the funnel system.
Yep. Thanks, Nolan, for that explanation. And so we are looking at this from this funnel perspective, and we have this here just to make sure everyone is on the same page. So we have this broken down into 4 parts here. We have our top funnel, which is our lead generation tools, our middle funnel, which is our collaborative home search, our CRMs that help us build relationships, our bottom funnel, which is just our transaction facilitators, and then our post funnel, which is our referrals, our repeat business. So breaking that down just to kind of further dive into that top of funnel is where you're going to get those new clients. You're marketing that value proposition. You're telling that new client, hey, these are the problems I solve as your agent. This is why you should work with me. And this is what I can do that other agents can't. Now, taking a look at that middle funnel, that is really going to support the claims that you make in that top funnel, which is where that focus of ours is today. So our middle funnel tools, our collaboration tools are supporting our value, but ultimately that's where our most memorable experience with that client is going to come out of. So an ineffective mid funnel is going to impact your ability to support the claims at the top, and it's going to ultimately impact your post funnel success where you're getting that repeat business. So a good mid funnel is going to make your clients make sure that they remember you and they always want to come back to you. But it's also going to be that way that you're staying at the top of mind, that tool you use. So when your client has someone who comes to them and says, hey, do you have an agent? They refer you. And then when your client is ready to buy or sell again, they come back into your sphere. We're handing it back over to Nolan now. I think we're going to dive into some of the stories that we've talked about before and kind of show you some use cases here.
Perfect. So we are going to jump right into the Zenlist platform here. Now, again, probably a wide range of experience using Zenlist on this webinar. We're a web and mobile app solution. So everything you'll see here on the desktop version can be done on the mobile app. As we all know and understand, you're busy on the go. How rare is it that you're actually at your desk? Everything you'll be able to see today can be done and has been done using our mobile solutions right from the App Store on Apple and Google Play. So very quick, high level, we want to make things easy for you to be organized, to keep track of all of the clients that you're working with, whether they're active, past clients, or current upcoming invited clients. You can see all of them in one easy location and track the search, track the engagement. And as Zenlist is a closed system, we're pulling data directly from your local MLS. So you're getting the search, the updates, and the private remarks that is very important to you. Now, what we wanted to do is talk a little bit about how agents are actually positioning Zenlist coming up under these new guidelines about buyer agreements, buyer representation, and how you can use this tool, even on that first never met you before buyer consultation meeting, to drive forth. And I'd love to share a story about one of our customers in Atlanta that wanted to us to tell how they use Zenlist to not only bring a customer that was a little wishy-washy back into the fray, but have now gone under contract with that customer. And it all started by simply sitting across from the table at a local coffee shop and walking through their normal routine. And what they saw was the buyer was, maybe I want to jump into this, maybe I don't. So rather than let that buyer walk away and then immediately hop onto Zillow or homes.com and become potentially a lead for another agent, that agent had enough experience to know, well, hey, what if I could offer you a private portal for you to be able to search on your own, and we can keep in touch over the coming weeks. I know you're not ready to sign an agreement, but moving forward from there, I'd love for you to be able to at least see the access to this information. So all they did, maybe the buyer doesn't necessarily know all of the intricacies of what they're looking for, but I'd imagine most buyers are going to know what their budget is. So had mentioned that they're looking for a property about 300,000 to 350,000. Didn't have it really narrowed down, but definitely knew that they wanted to live somewhere north of Atlanta in the 30, 305, and that they were looking for a condo. So right there, that narrowed the search down immediately. 30 listings to be able to send. And as easy as it can be, right from here without having to go back into their MLS, pull out their computer, you can invite that client right from Zenlist with their first name, email, and we highly suggest the phone number. That will prompt that client to get a text to download the app. That agent sat there and watched that customer download the app and get a tailor-made search based on their criteria. And from there, where they took it to the next level was using some of our tools and history information that we have in our clients. So by going back to the client portal, what I love to show is the ability to go into every one of your customers. And one of the coolest things about this is these customers will be ordered based on the last time they were in the app. So if you see somebody pop back up to the top of your screen here that you haven't seen in a while, you can know that they're back on Zenlist searching for listings, and it may be a great time to engage. But what the agent did that was unlike anything we had heard before was using the client activity page that they have here. So they started to receive notifications that this buyer was actually engaging with a lot more listings and searching a lot more than they let on. So they were able to quickly see that they had engaged with the property over 10 times. And right from this client activity page, we're able to pull up the information, see the both public, private remarks, and without ever having to leave the app or even having to call the client directly, we're able to send them a chat using our in-app chat tool and mention that they noticed that they've been looking at this listing, happen to know this area pretty well. Would you like to set up some time where we can go and see it? That client said, hey, yeah, that listing actually looks awesome. Would love to meet with you. What do I need to do from my side? That client signed a buyer's agreement. They moved forward, and that client, last I heard, has been under contract, and that agent's been able to move on with a great story that they can replicate in that process across all of their new upcoming buyers. Taylor, I'd love for you to walk through some of the other features that we have here on the client activity page.
Yeah, I love that story. First off, I hear similar stories to agents that I talk to, but on this client activity page in particular, not only can we see exactly what they're doing, how many times they're looking at a listing, I think it's really important to note that if you can just click into a property detail page, Nolan, that would be great. But it's important to note that in Nolan's story, it worked out so well. They ended up finding that client at home, bringing them into the fold. But when we're looking at listings on Zenlist, our client will never see any agent information other than your own. So you'll have that there so that you can do everything and get all the information that you need. But in the event that maybe your client isn't necessarily ready to buy, or it's still going to be a few months before we're actually really kicking things off, you can get them on this platform, connect them to you, and you're keeping them in this portal that you control and own where they can't get connected with any other agents. So it's really keeping your clients, that you're taking that time in your top funnel to capture and putting them in a place where they're less likely to become a lead for someone else. So I want to always point that out because I feel like that is a great feature within Zenlist. And then if we exit out of this, going back to the client activity, talking about all of those different search areas, looking at what our client is doing, up at the top right, there is an edit searches button. And if your client is creating searches on Zenlist, you can actually see their created searches. So if they start looking in new neighborhoods, change their price point, you have access to that. So you can always be up to date with your client's needs as they are changing. So this makes this page really powerful for any agent who uses it.
Perfect. Thank you, Taylor. Now, moving on to one of my personal favorite stories that I've heard from any agent is actually using one of our newer features called Hot Sheets. And as Zenlist operates in multiple markets around the country, I want to take us out of Atlanta and move up towards Philadelphia out of the Bright MLS. And I think this is a situation that happens more often than we would, care to admit. But the reality is buyers are going to be looking all over now with inventory being low and rates being as high as they are. And not always is the agent going to be immediately prepared with the information that they need. Maybe you don't know the price point of the neighborhood. Maybe you don't even know if there are any listings coming up. And to do so takes a few jumps between systems to be able to figure that out. And in the day-to-day, time is the most important factor that you have as an agent. And we want to be able to give you the ability to move quickly within your process and pull and have the data that you need. So one of our favorite new features is called the Hot Sheet feature, or Market Watch, as you may be more familiar in some of your markets. And what this can do is give you a snapshot over a time period of what's been happening in an area, whether that's a city, a zip code, a neighborhood, and give you the ability to make recommendations that advise your customer based on what they're looking for and what they may need. So in this story out of Philadelphia, I had an agent that typically operates more in the Southwest Darby area, and they had a potential customer from a referral from another client that was looking in an area called Fishtown. Now that agent had been to Fishtown, but didn't really know the business over there, but knew that it's within their realm and responsibility that they can operate and work in that area. So right away, by pulling out their phone during that buyer consultation, they had a budget in mind from their customer, but wanted to make sure that that was a realistic area for that client to search. That's that level of expertise that a customer is not going to be able to get from Zillow or on their own. They need an agent as that guiding force for this large purchase. So what that customer or what that agent was able to do is quickly narrow down the search out of all of the listings in Bright to that Fishtown, Lower Kensington area, see all of the current listings. But again, that's a lot of variety and that's a lot of change. What the hot sheet did was within a few seconds be able to cultivate over the last 3 months all of the transactions that have happened over there. And since we know the price point of what that customer was looking for, wanted to see what that price point between 450 to 500,000 had looked like. So over the last 3 months, within a few clicks, that agent can now see that there's been 32 different listings between contingent, active, and sold, and dive even further deep into seeing that there are the average price points, the days on market, the list price, and the average sale price. So looking at what's closed over the last 12 months, that's right in that sweet spot of that middle. So now I know as an agent, we have room to negotiate if that's my boundary and that's my budget for this client specifically. So now this client's feeling encouraged that their budget is going to be able to help find them a home that they're looking for. So now from here, we take it from the data collection period to the actual action period. And it's very easy to pivot and switch over from a hot sheet to a search, just as we saw before. So let's say I just want to know all of the active listings happening right now. So right now in this market and in this area specifically, it looks like there's quite a few listings. And I know that we're looking specifically for a townhouse. So we've got 3 listings to look at right here. And now that the client's excited, they're engaged, they say, you know what, I actually know that I want a certain square footage since, we're planning to grow as a family here. So that's narrowed it down to 1 listing. Now I can click into here, see all the listing detail information that I would like. And in markets that we support, you can actually schedule a tour or a showing time directly from the Zenlist platform. And right there, as we all know, as this trend moves forward with these settlements, that gives you the permission and the ability to confidently ask for a buyer's agreement before you're able to show this property. And what buyer would walk away from that property and that ability to schedule something out. And from here, since this is a buyer consultation, that client hasn't been added to Zenlist just yet. We can save that search as we did before without ever having to leave the platform, add that client, and now anytime a new listing populates under these criterias, both you and that agent will be able to get some more information here. And if you want to change or edit the search, it's as easy as expanding the area. So maybe we want to add a little bit more of the Kensington area because they don't want to live too close to 95. We can create a very robust and simple search process. So now we've added 5 listings for this client to be able to see whether that's fitting what they're looking for here. And anytime, as Taylor had mentioned, since we're integrated with the MLS, anytime a new listing is added, you'll receive that listing as soon as possible and be able to interact and schedule that out with the client. Taylor, would love for you to walk through some of the other features that we have here as well.
Yeah, I think just one thing I like to go back to is how fast this is. We are connected with your MLS. So not only is it quick, it's accurate information. We're living in this, world now where we sort of have this culture of immediacy where people expect fast results. And so doing everything here is pulling this up on your phone, on your computer, and you're getting all that information so quickly, you can push it out to your client, and it's really going to increase, the value add that you're providing as well. On top of that, there are things that we can do in the app to further collaborate with our client, like leaving notes, scheduling tours, that we are able to then see an app, track an app. And Nolan, I think you had some points that you wanted to touch on with that as well. So I'll flip it back over to you.
Yeah, I think these 2 stories are some great optimistic, happy ending stories of agents that were able to move quickly. But the reality is it's not an easy process to be placing buyers right now. And what we're seeing is a longer buying process, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, depending on the area. And any reasonable person can get frustrated or feel sad or hopeless that they're not going to find their property. And the reality is, the problem is y'all are too good at your jobs. You're hiding all of the work that you're doing, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the late night emails back and forth, the late night MLS searches. And the client is really only seeing the results when they're on the property with you. And as we go back to those headlines before, our goal is to help you leave those in the past and give you the ability to show just how much work you're putting in for every one of your clients in a demonstrable way and an easy way for your clients to be able to see it as well. Not only will your clients receive notifications in their own app of all of the work you're doing by adding listings, saving, adding notes, they can also see all of the information in their own pool. So listings with notes, any information there. But as we go into our chat feature as well, one of the things that we hear from agents that they love the most about Zenlist is not only ability to work with one-on-one clients, but also the ability to group clients together, where every client can take ownership in the search, whether those are investors, spouses, partners, friends, roommates. You can combine and collaborate across all different purchasing personas. And from right in this area, we already showed the client activity page. But from here, you have a historical documentation that you can show the chats, the saved request, any of the tours that you would like to be able to see, any tours that have been requested, as well as all of the engagement and back and forth that you've had. So when a client starts to feel down about the process, you can show them the hard work that you've been putting in and reinforce that value as to why you're the agent that they need to work with, as well as the ability to see all of the past and upcoming tours that you've scheduled with any of your customers and any of your clients right within Zenlist.
Yeah, I
Taylor, if you'd
think for
like to highlight
the
some of the.
tour folder in particular, sorry not to cut you off, I just get very excited about this tour functionality. This tour functionality here is shared with your client. Now you're the only one who can edit the tour, set up the tour, see the scheduling instructions, but when you create this tour for your client on Zenlist, they have access to it. So they can keep track as you are going through saying, hey, I've requested this, or something has been confirmed. So it's going to give them a real-time log of everything that you've been doing. More importantly, just one kind of hidden feature that I really like about this tour functionality is not only are you giving your client like this very nice real-time tour to look at, it's going to be very easy for everyone to move smoothly through this. So if you click the dot, dot, dot at the top right there, you and your client can both click view in Google Maps, and that's actually going to pull in all of your tour route right here. It's going to show you directions from point A, B, C, D to E. You can send that to your phone. Your client can do the same. So in that sense, you're also providing your client this added tour functionality. You're not sharing with them just your Google Doc, spreadsheet, and email. It's something that they have on their phone. They can access the listing information. They can get all of the directions for that as well. So I just like to point that out too, because it's some fun functionality in there.
No, thanks, Taylor. Great point. And lastly, with the time we have remaining, we talked a little bit about the middle of the funnel and the post funnel, but we also recognize how important lead generation is for agents. And what we find the easiest way to do it is to let your results and your ability speak for themselves. What we wanted to do was give you an exclusive public profile called the Zen link, which every agent can customize, add their stats, add their production, add their information, and create a very compelling public-facing site that whenever somebody clicks or is shared, they'll be automatically added into your Zenlist for you to be able to approve to help drive more business into your sphere.
Yeah, this page is great. So you can kind of see like a small sample of Nolan's customized profile there, but you can customize that with your Zillow reviews, your Google reviews. And what I see a lot of agents do at this page is use it as their digital real estate resume. And the added bonus of it is you can share that link. You can easily access a QR code and include that in all of your marketing to your top funnel. And that way everyone has a way to connect with you digitally in this sphere where they can't see any other agents. So this is a really great tool that you have in your tool belt to address the top of funnel. And I always like to say you can use this post funnel too. You have a client you gave a great experience to, share your Zen link, your public profile with those clients that you've closed transactions with, so that when they're referring you to other clients, whoever, they have a link that is going to allow anyone they refer to you to connect with you right away as well. So lots of great different use cases for this page as well to not only address your top of funnel, your post funnel as well.
Great. Thank you, Taylor. Now, we've talked a lot about some of the more, call it 201 features of Zenlist, but we want to make sure everybody knows that we have a lot of resources available on the general use of Zenlist, how the tools operate. And the last thing we want you to feel is that you're ever going through this alone. You have your colleagues, your broker to rely on, and yourself, but we also want you should be able to rely on your technology vendor in your company, and you should be able to get a response as soon as you need that response in a time that is actually acceptable in the agent lifestyle. So all of our customer success team is accessible typically within under a minute, real life people that you can chat back and forth with if you have questions, problems, or recommendations on Zenlist. You can chat with us directly in the app. And I also love to show this off as well. A lot of the times this gets overlooked. Marketing is such an integral part of being a real estate agent. We've gone ahead and done a lot of the hard work for you with our marketing team. We've created logos and templates that you can use and customize to be able to share with your social network, with your clients, with your customers, or whatever your heart's content, to be able to customize these to showcase why they should work with you, what the value of Zenlist is for your customers, and what they can expect across all different solutions. So as we start to wrap this webinar up, wanted to again thank everybody for taking the time out of their day. As I mentioned earlier in the call, our marketing team has created an exclusive 16-page customizable buyer's guide for attendees to share with prospective clients. Now, we'll be providing this to all of you in addition to the webinar, but we would love to hear any feedback or any success that any of the customers or the agents on the call have with this. We've added some implementation and some access to Zenlist features in there as well as the ability to customize based on your stats and your results. And lastly, we'll take a look at if there's any pending questions that have been asked. But for those that may not already be using Zenlist, you can get started by signing up at zenlist.com and clicking Get Started in the top right corner, or by downloading our mobile app, which is available in both the App Store and Google Play Store. If there are any questions, we'll leave the webinar running to answer them now, but you can also live chat with our team through the help button on any page, email support@zenlist.com, or visit Zenlist or help.zenlist.com for any additional resources. And we want to thank you again for taking time to come. We'll provide a recording of the webinar, and buyer's guide will be emailed to you tomorrow. And feel free and please follow us on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And I know Taylor would love to talk about a survey that you'll be receiving, because as we step more into this new landscape, we want to be able to add value to our agents and our customers, and would love to get content and stories from other attendees on this call that we can share across the country as well.
Yeah, there's a quick survey after the webinar will wrap. There'll be a link on the page. We would love for you to take that just to give us some of your feedback. Let us know what you thought of the session, if you got value from it. All feedback is welcome, good or bad. But please let us know what you think.
Great. Well, we will leave the webinar running a little bit. I'm going to pull up the Q&A and see if we have any questions that may still be unanswered. Doesn't look like we have anything in the chat or the Q&A. So if anybody has questions, feel free to leave them now. If not, we're excited. Please have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to speaking with you here in the near future. Appreciate everybody taking the time to join.
Perfect.
All right. With that, we'll end the webinar. Thank you, everybody.